I mean, is there a better way to start the week than with the Darren Pang? I feel like I haven't chatted with you since before quarantine, so that's like 3 months.
It's been way too long, and I know everybody's doing a heck of a job, though. I know whether you're in the studio or whether you're somewhere else, and I know we all miss the great game of hockey, but and I do as well. This has been an incredible time going from returning to Anaheim, following Jay Bomeister earlier in the season. It was a makeup game for the St. Louis Blues, and everybody had anxiety about going back there, and just I've seen Jay, down on the bench. And then we got word during the game that that COVID-19 was something, and that likely the game would be shut down. So it seems like a century ago. On that note, though, I did get a chance to see Jay Bomeister just a little bit ago, and it was great to see him. He's doing really well, and I know that he'd want everybody to know that. I just was thinking
That's
that
great.
On the side. Yes.
Great.
No, thank you for that update on him. That is so important. We're glad to hear that he's doing well, because that was a scary day this year for sure. And hopefully we're going to see hockey back sooner rather than later, maybe in the coming months. But today we have actual news to talk about. I guess voting has officially begun for the NHL awards for the season. And these are always controversial. So let's start with one that always seems to cause a lot of conversation. And that, of course, is the Hart Trophy for the most valuable player. Panger, looking at what you saw this season, who takes it for you?
Well, for me, and I thought he should have been in the running the last couple of years. I think he's a one-man wrecking crew. He's the engine that runs the offense. He's a better defensive player that people give him credit for. And I've got Nathan, the Colorado Avalanche. I think the Hart Trophy, for what he means to that team, I think he embodies exactly what they're having a heck of a year. They played a couple of fewer games than the St. Louis Blues. Their winning percentage is slightly below it. If they won their 2 games, they'd have the highest winning percentage in the Western Conference. They've had some injuries, so I would say that it's a close race. It always is. There's always so many great players, but I would put Nathan MacKinnon as my top guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's a great candidate. There's a great chance he could win it this year. I think all the things you said are absolutely true. I mean, Draisaitl's running away with the points race, so that's something to consider for Draisaitl. And the one guy that I think I'd really be interested to see where he ends up in the voting is Artemi Panarin, because he had the 95 points, and he's a plus 36. And you look at the numbers about when he's on the ice and when he isn't, it is a dramatic difference with the New York Rangers. So I'm hoping that he gets some significant consideration as well.
And we know, too, based on the way the conversation was going as the season, I guess, didn't come to an end, but got closer to that pause, was, oh, well, if the Rangers make it, we'll talk about that a little bit more. And now the Rangers, of course, are going to play to enter that postseason. They're one of the 24 teams. So we'll see how that weighs on the voters' minds when it comes to the Hart Trophy. Let's go next to the Rookie of the Year. A lot of people look at this as a 2-horse race. Is it a 2-horse race, Panger? Who do you like for Rookie of the Year in the Calder?
Believe it's a 2-horse race, and I'm going back to the Colorado Avalanche. Every time I watch Cale Makar, I'm just amazed at some of the things he does. The way he handles the puck, his composure on the point. He's got a really, really good shot, and it's not wicked, it's not heavy, it's just smart. He just plays the game smart, and I could watch him play all day long. Now, Quinn Hughes is a heck of a defenseman, so we're talking about 2 young kids that are offensive-minded defensemen. I think Hughes does a wonderful job of operating on the offense, especially when they have a power player there in overtime. He's an incredible talent to watch. There's no question. But I'm going to give Makar the slight edge over Hughes for the Calder Trophy.
Yeah, I agree with you, Panger. I think it is a terrific 2-horse race with 2 great young defensemen who are going to be around a long time in Makar and Hughes. I'll say one other thing, though. These guys might all be lucky that Igor Shesterkin spent the first half of the season in Hartford, because the .932 save percentage since he's come up, I mean, he might be significantly in this mix if he had played more games, but I'm with you on Makar.
All right. Well, we got Darren Pang on the show, so we thought we'd maybe wait before we got to the Vezina. Let's get to the Vezina Trophy for the best goaltender this season. Who stands out for you, Panger?
That is a very difficult, I think, voting there. I think the general managers who vote for the Vezina Trophy, they've got their hands full. I'm going back to the West again. I thought that last year, after the Winnipeg Jets were beat by St. Louis, and in the fashion that they were beat, I wondered how Connor Hellebuck was going to respond. I was wondering how he was going to respond with the defensemen that weren't there, the moves that they made, some new bodies coming in. Maybe not as strong defensively, maybe not such a stand-up team in terms of taking away the zone. But I think Connor Hellebuck rebounded in a big, big way. He's skating nearby me here. I've got a lake house in Michigan, and there's a place called Heartland Ice Arena. Kyle Connor and Hellebuck, they've been out there skating and getting some work in there. But I think that Jordan Binnington did an outstanding job. You win the Stanley Cup and you come back, and there's a lot of emotions. There's a lot going on in the off season. I thought he really showed a lot and what his future is going to be, which is incredibly bright. And then Tuukka Rask as well. I thought Tuukka had a great, obviously a great season. And guys, you think about a team that lost in Game 7 on home ice. I'm so impressed with the Boston Bruins. I just am. I mean, for the St. Louis Blues, they won. They've got their rings. They've got the cup. But the way Bruce Cassidy had the Boston Bruins and the way they responded, I got to give them a whole lot of credit. And Rask and Halak certainly deserve a lot of credit. But I'm going to go to Connor Hellebuck in this one.
Yeah, Panger, looking at the numbers, I'm going to agree with you on Connor Hellebuck, but I want to pose a question to you because I think this is something that the voters are going to have to continue to consider over time. And you mentioned the general managers are the guys that vote on this, is that the goaltending position, it always evolves. As you know, you played the position, you've seen it evolve dramatically in 30, 40 years. It seems now guys are playing fewer games in the regular season. So, like, to compare Hellebuck, who played 58 games, and Rask, who's played 44, all of a sudden that's something you have to weigh in. Would you agree?
I totally agree with you. And then you've got to look at that, the workload, the value of the opposition that they're playing. The quality starts are the biggest things. And certainly Tuukka Rask gets quality starts, so you've got to keep that in consideration. But I do believe that the general managers are going to have to look at that. It's probably why, Carey Price gets a lot of notoriety. He hasn't won a whole lot. Obviously he's won gold medals, but at the NHL level, and he hasn't actually had the horses or the team to ride him that high, but he gets a lot of notoriety because he is a one-man wrecking crew in net for the Montreal Canadiens. But again, going back to it, you are correct. And I'm sure the general managers are looking at it, and especially the quality of starts. You look at the numbers, the win percentage, the shot. Those things for me aren't as important as winning hockey games and who you beat when you win a hockey game.
Yeah.
Well, needless to say, it's an award that's only going to get tougher and tougher to vote on because of the emergence of tandems and all the things that you guys just talked about. So we'll see how it evolves over the coming years, but it's probably one of the harder awards to place a vote on. All right, just a couple of minutes left, so let's get one more in here. Let's talk about the Norris, an award for the best defenseman. Panger, who do you like? Is it John Carlson? Is he the runaway?
Well, I think from start to finish, he's led the race right off the hop. Incredible offensive numbers, but I think he's really involved as a better, well-rounded defenseman, a guy that you can rely upon in key situations. Because I don't think when we look at this trophy, I think we have to look at who do you want on the ice in the last minute of a hockey game when you're leading by one goal. Points are great and they're wonderful and everything, but I think you need a reliable guy that you say, that's the guy that I want.
Preach.
Yes, there you go. So, but I do have Carlson. I have Roman Josi in the number 2 hole. I think the world of Roman Josi. I think he's phenomenal. He might be the best all-round defenseman in the NHL. And I've got Alex Pietrangelo of the St. Louis Blues. I just think being the captain of a defending Stanley Cup championship team and what's on your shoulders and going through unrestricted free agency, I think Alex Pietrangelo has had a heck of a season.
Yeah, I would agree with you on Pietrangelo. I would go with Carlson to be my guy. I think those candidates are good. The guy that's on the bench with Pietrangelo, Colton Parayko, is another guy. Maybe doesn't have the points, but boy, he's hard. You want him on the ice in the last minute of a game, hard to play against. And two guys who are not going to get the award, but I wanted to give a little shout out to both of them. Tony DeAngelo has 4th most points in the league for defensemen this year, which kind of blew me away. So it's been a good year for him. And Neil Pionk got moved to the Winnipeg Jets from the Rangers. And Neil Pionk plays a lot of minutes there and has been a plus player and has had a really nice year.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree.
All right, we're running out of time, but really, really quick, Panger, who did you have between Tiger and Phil when that went down? I got to know.
Ooh. That was really fun to watch. I really enjoyed that. I didn't realize that Peyton Manning hit as many fairways as he does. Like, he doesn't have the greatest swing in the world, but his swing found the middle of the fairway, so I was pretty impressed. I thought they were going to win, to be honest with you, from the get-go.
Yeah. It was so fun to watch. So I had to make sure I got your thoughts on that in there for sure. But Panger, always a pleasure hanging out and chatting with you. Hopefully we'll be able to see you in person really soon. But for now, enjoy the rest of your week and thank you for doing this.
My pleasure. You guys stay safe and we'll see you soon. Thanks.